So today we're going to talk about association language, and many of you are probably working in association. It's a great opportunity. People find that they are able to find a lot of people to meet with out of an association, so that's one benefit. Let me see if I can get this to... Okay. So why use associations? People are always trying to find people to see. The biggest reason that people leave this business is they don't have enough people to see and they don't have enough activity. So we came across association marketing through Richard Weilman, and we have access to his whole online university. So one of the things about using an association is you get people to see. And you get to see them on a preferential basis. They know of you, they get to know who you are, and you get to see them in repeatedly different situations, and I can talk more about that. But also, the one thing through Mutual of Omaha is that you're able to offer discounts to the association members if you get the association approved that aren't available to the general public. And when I call people, that makes it a much easier conversation because I'm offering them a discount, and everybody loves to save money. So people to see, offering a discount, you can learn what that association's needs are and have similar language that they have. So I think like Kyle Lubeck is a perfect example. He has learned how to speak the way chiropractors speak to each other. He's learned their little lingo, how they refer to themselves, what their needs are, what they typically have in their practice for needs. And so now when he talks to people, he's very comfortable, and he's written in their magazines and gone to their shows and things like that, so he's very comfortable with that language. So you don't have to be a jack of all trades. You can learn one thing, learn it well, and then become the expert in that area. So that's kind of goes to the next one, makes you a big fish in a little pond. So you become famous to a small group of people, and the thing is, people tend to speak to each other and recommend each other. One thing we're finding about this new generation of people out there is, and having that social media, is that people are communicating with each other more as far as what are you doing, how are you doing it, and so you get a group of people talking about you with the social media that we have available nowadays. You're going to have a lot of word spread about who you are, and you're going to get recognized a lot quicker. So if you have an association, great. If you don't, you can go and watch the Richard Weilman, and I can set you up with that if you haven't seen it. And then also you can go on our SPA and look into the associations, and there's a step-by-step process to get them approved. So if you find one you want, there's a step-by-step process and some rules. And I did it. At first it looked very intimidating. I have 2 associations right now, and it looked a little intimidating, but it honestly was very simple. And the people in the home office are, really good to work with on that. So if you get up to doing it and you want to call me, I can help you walk through it. But like I said, it's actually very simple. I was just talking to one of the advisors early on the call before everyone got on, and the one thing that I was told by one of my predecessors was that never to use the word endorse. Associations get very nervous about endorsing somebody. So you want to say that you're offering discounts to their members, and that's why you want to be connected to the association. And so it's more of a relationship of a partnership, and they can have partnerships with a lot of other companies at the same time. We don't need exclusivity. We're just looking to get them as an association approved by Mutual of Omaha so that we can give them discounts not available to the general public. And that's how you need to word it, very soft like that, because they get nervous. They like giving their people discounts, they like giving them more service. They don't like giving them recommendations that, shut out other people. So, okay, so first thing, when you're making calls, and that's where it kind of all starts, is the calls, is the one thing we know is that to have a good call-in clinic or a good time set aside to have the calls, that works for the people in that association. Obviously, you don't want to be calling seniors at 8 o'clock at night, and you don't want to be calling 30-year-olds at 10 o'clock in the morning. So you have to find the right time and set some goals. But what makes a really good call is that positive attitude. You want to do things to make yourself very positive. You know, pump yourself up a little bit, have a positive attitude, be very organized with your list of names. Know exactly who you're going to call and have all of their phone numbers scrubbed in the do not call. And so you want to do that. You want to get everything done ahead of time. And then find a good location. One thing I have encouraged people to do is move out of their office to make their calls. Switch offices with somebody. Because what happens is when you're an agent and you're sitting at your desk, you can find a lot of things to distract you. So find a spot that does not distract you. Now, you're calling with a great option here because you have some common ground with the client. You want to talk about the association. The association might have a newsletter that just came out. They might have an event coming up. I mean, there's a lot of things for you to talk to the person about when you call. And my associations, I became a member of the association. So I was going to their monthly dinner. I was in their newsletter. And so those types of things make it easy too. So the other thing is having a script. And that's really what I wanted to get to you today is a script. Now that script isn't going to always play out exactly perfect, but it's a starting point. It gives you something when you get nervous to look down at. And one thing I've also seen when I've done calling clinics with people, and I always offer to do that if you want to sit across the desk from me and make calls, or sit on Skype and make calls, we can do that. But avoid arguing. If the client says they don't need it, don't say everybody needs it. And they say, no, I don't need it because of my situation, then you say, well, that's not true. See, you don't want to argue with them. If you find yourself arguing, kind of check yourself. If you're arguing versus asking questions, then you want to stop that pattern right there. And I've seen myself do it, you know. So watch yourself that you're not arguing and that you're just asking questions. Tell me a little more about that. Okay, so you have your list in front of you, you have a good place to call, you're in a positive mood, and you're ready to go. So you're calling your association people. Typically there'll be a business or most of the time there'll be a business or a person who runs a business. So you ask for the person by first name. If I call and I ask for Tom Jones, then I'm going to sound like I'm not really Tom Jones's friend. If I call and say, may I speak with Tom, please? People are going to think that I know Tom. I find that's a much softer way to ask. And then they'll still ask, if they've been trained well, may I ask who's calling? And then I would just say, oh, I'm Becky Nominson, thank you. Don't say Becky Nominson with Mutual of Omaha. I mean, the goal here is to get through to the person. So just say Becky Nominson. And if she says, well, what is this in reference to? Well, then she's been trained pretty well, and she's a gatekeeper. And so I just have to say something about, I'm calling in regard to Tom's membership with the Wisconsin Campground Owners Association. We've been corresponding by email, and I told him I would call this week. Now I always send out an email ahead of time, so I'm not really lying. We have corresponded by email, and I did tell him I would call this week. None of that is untrue. So you're saying you're calling about his membership in something, it doesn't sound like a call they would block. So once I get Mr. Wilson or whoever on the phone, I'm going to say something like this. Hello, Mr. Wilson. How are you today? Great. My name is Becky Nominson with Mutual of Omaha. And the reason for my call today is your membership with the Wisconsin Campground Owners Association. I've teamed up with the association to offer you discounts not available to the general public. And then I'm going to pause and let them talk. I want to get as far as telling them that I'm calling about the association before I pause. So, again, hello, Mr. Wilson. How are you today? Great. My name is Becky Nominson. I'm with the Mutual of Omaha Companies, and the reason for my call today is your membership with the Wisconsin Campground Owners Association. I've teamed up with the association to offer you discounts not offered to the general public. Now pause. They're gonna say something like, well, discounts on what? Or I don't need anything right now. Or had you come to the events? And you have to be able, this is one thing I can't teach in a script, you have to be able to play off on that and keep them talking. The goal is to keep them talking. People never shut up, never hang up, people never hang up on you when they're talking. So get them talking, let them talk about themselves, and if you can't think of anything to ask, say, tell me a little bit about your campground, or whatever their business is. How long have you owned it? Is it a family business? How many employees do you have? You know, and when they're answering, you know, just make small comments like, wow, that's fantastic, and keep diving a little deeper. You're gonna find out some things that are gonna tell you whether or not this is a qualified person to be meeting with, whether there's somebody who's gonna have something they can be doing with you. You're gonna find out if they have a partner. You're gonna find out if they have family. I mean, find those things out, but make it a conversation. So, then in the end, you have to go and close the deal. You have to line up the appointment. You don't want to talk about products at all on the call. The goal of the call is to get the appointment. So, what I'd like to do, Mr. Wilson, Tom, what I'd like to do, Tom, is find a time so I can meet with you and show you the discounts you're now eligible for because of your Waco membership. Are mornings or afternoons better? Now, I didn't ask if he wanted to meet. I said, I'd like to find a time to meet you so I can show you the discounts you're eligible for because of your Waco membership. Are mornings or afternoons better? I went right in for the appointment. Don't pause, go for it. They're gonna answer your question with not a yes or a no because you've asked them a question, morning or afternoon. You have to answer a morning or afternoon, or they have to shut you down hard. And that because you're a member of the same association as them, they're less likely to do that. So now I've got objections because we all know they'll come, right? People aren't interested if they don't object. People will object. At least that means they're thinking about it. So take that as a positive sign. What's this all about? Well, what I'd really like to do is just show you the type of work I do. It's only gonna take about 25 minutes, and then if you ever need our services, you'll know exactly where you can find me. With that in mind, are mornings or afternoons better? Or Tuesdays and Thursdays better? Okay, so then how about this one? Can't you just explain it over the phone? Well, not really. We can't shake hands and become better acquainted over the phone, and I do need to show you what it is I do. I believe you'll find my services quite unique. That's probably the reason the association has partnered with me to bring you these discounts. See, I'm coming back to my partnership with the association and the discounts. You kind of want, I'll send this PowerPoint out afterwards so you don't have to write these all down. But this is what you want, is you want to keep reminding people that you're just trying to give them a discount. I already have an advisor. Well, that's great. I'm happy to hear that you believe in the value of an advisor. Like most people, you probably appreciate the value of a second opinion. You know, different advisors come from different backgrounds, and as a result, their recommendations are often influenced by those backgrounds. I just like an opportunity to meet you and show you what it is that I do. With that in mind, are mornings or afternoons better? Or how about the infamous, we're all set, we don't need any more help? I appreciate your position. Based on your membership in Waco, I would still like to meet you. I have a little questionnaire that'll help you determine if you have any needs for my services. On that basis, let's take 25 minutes and give a quick review of what I do. Okay, with that in mind, are mornings or afternoons better? So, these are the same ones I use without the Waco language in it that I use for everything. So let's back up and say, any questions on that or any experiences that have been obstacles for you? I'll open up your lines if you could. Okay, Michael, are you working in association?
Hey, Becky. I don't have any associations right now. I'm working with trying to get with Wisconsin Swimming.
Okay.
So it'll probably be my first leap into it. I haven't met with them, but they had some changes at the top, so I'll have to meet with them again.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully you'll be using this language soon then.
Yeah,
Okay.
the gatekeeper language, kind of getting past the gatekeeper is, I think, pretty useful. So.
You know, and I would warn you that when you go to the business the first time to meet with people, don't overlook anybody. Okay, because here's situations I found. The person sweeping the floors of the plant, the person at the reception desk may be a child of the owner. It might look like they're not someone that has any importance in the business, but they could be the actual beneficiaries of the business down the road. So a lot of parents will put their kids in roles that are, you know, very beginner roles just to let them come up through the business and know all the levels. So one day I had a gal on the phone at the reception desk, and the business owner waved me, come on in. So I didn't talk to her. I went in and I talked to him. During the conversation, I found out his daughter was the one working the reception desk. So on the way out, I stopped, I introduced myself, I handed her a card, and I said, we're trying to find a way to get some benefits for the employees here, and I don't know, I'll probably be calling from time to time, so I just wanted to give you my card. Now, you think she's gonna gatekeep me next time I call? Probably not. So, you know, I took the time, it's a little extra effort, but sometimes those little things are what differentiates you from the next guy, right? So, what pieces do we have and how can you approach people? I like to do a pre-approach so that when I call and I talk to the gatekeeper, I can say I was supposed to follow up today. So this is a postcard. This is the front of it, and I didn't know any other way to show you except for I'll show you the back. The back talks about the discounts. So, so here you go. It talks about the discounts and the membership opportunity. And it talks about the Waco, which is the association I have, and it also talks about Mutual of Omaha. So that's kind of a great thing. I wish I could find a way to do this. So anyway, that is one thing. I would send out the pre-approach postcard. Then, after the first set of calls, I would follow up with an email. Our email marketing has them for associations, saying enjoy the benefits of belonging or a relationship of trust. I mean, those are things that make it look like you are part of this association and you're communicating with its members. Most of my associations I have on a whole CSV file of emails. I can send out 300-400 at a time. So here's the top of the email, a very attractive picture or something that catches your eye at least. Message of enjoying the benefits of belonging. And then if you go down to the next part of the email, it has all of the things that we do. It has saying that I will be calling you next week, and it has my name hyperlinked to my contact information and my website. So you send that email, and it really gives them, I always like these emails that have my picture on it, so if I cross them somewhere, they know who I am, you know, or when I walk in for that meeting, they recognize me. So those are two things I would use. So how would I use them? Here's what I would do. I'd set up a campaign. The association isn't going to be everything that you do. It's going to be a piece of it's going to be one silo of your marketing plan. So have a marketing agenda for this silo of people. Thursday, send out the postcard. The following Tuesday, call. The following Thursday, send out an email. The next Tuesday, call. And then just keep going with that. Send a different card or flyer, and then call. But what else can you do with associations? This is the great thing about them. You can put articles in their newsletter. You can get something on their website. You can get a chance to speak at their national conference or state conference. I just did that. And you can also get in front of them at a monthly meeting or something. Help with the meetings. I actually went into this association and made calls for 8 hours straight to all of their members to tell them about the upcoming state convention and find out if they would like to pay ahead for their membership to go. Every time I called, I introduced myself. This is Becky Nomensen. I'm with Mutual of Omaha. I've partnered up with Waco. The reason for my call today is I wanted to see if you're coming to the state convention, and if we go ahead and process your fees today, to get you a jump start on being ready for that convention.